This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
So let's talk to Michelle Kaufman, who does an excellent job of covering InterMiami on a daily basis, plus her very interesting article where she's kind of figuring out what this team might do in the summertime. Good afternoon, Michelle. Thank you for taking some time and joining us.
Sure. How are you?
Excellent. You know, that was a lot of fun on Saturday night. They were attacking. They were the aggressive team. There were a lot of opportunities. They didn't pepper Miami's goalie either. And Drake had, what was in the 71st, 73rd minute or something like that. He had a monster save.
Right. Well, he had three really big. He had 6 saves, but he had 3 really big saves. He was a key to that game. He was a big key to that game for sure.
God, he's been such a find. It's just been.
That's why they just signed him to a new contract.
Exactly. I mean, it's just fantastic to see what Chris Henderson is already doing, with the team, because the talk was kind of, even from Neville, hey, we got to kind of find our footing and, kind of get the chemistry going and all that. But, for a first game, I thought that was a pretty good game that they put together, and it was an entertaining game too. Yeah,
well, most of the players are back from last year. So that's a big plus. Last year was 19 new guys. It was, an entirely new team. So this year, most of the players are back from last year. They really do have a very, very good culture on that team. I mean, I can tell you they have fun. They play basketball before practice. They have shooting contests. I mean, they really do seem to enjoy each other. It's a good locker room. And then they brought back, Pizarro was talking to us after the game, and he said, this is a completely different atmosphere than I left. And, he loves it. He's so happy here. He thinks this is going to be their best team in 4 years.
I agree.
And, Gonzalo is gone and Pozuelo is gone. Those are 2 really big losses. But they believe now the big concern is that Leo Campana is injured now with his calf.
Again.
Yes. And that's a concern. He may be out a few weeks. And, he's been injured already last year, and he's very talented
now. That's it. In a short career, all I can say about Campana is a lot of potential, but man, he's a sack of injuries. That guy can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that's got to be a concern. They brought in Joseph, and the idea was that Joseph and Leo would be, 2 forwards playing together. They made all kinds of plays and plans for the game on Saturday. And then at the last minute, they had to switch it up, and they started Coco Jean, and he did fine. But, they really do need Campana to be healthy, to be as good as they hope to be. Without him, that's a big loss. They have other players, but that is a loss. But, yeah, overall, the team is an attacking team. I don't know if you watch Negri, the left back, but he loves to push up. I mean, he's practically like a left wing. Who plays defense, but and then the one that everybody's excited about, although didn't show as much as I think he will show, is Nico Stefanelli. He's a very, very good player. He's going to be the designated playmaker this season. I think he's supposed to sort of take the role of Pozuelo, and he has very good vision. He's very energetic. He's super smart. He's a great student of the game. I've talked to him a few times, and he's got a really good soccer mind. He's paying a lot of close attention. And then in the back, you've got the Ukrainian badass. I don't know what else to call him, but Christoph, that guy is just no nonsense. And he ended up scoring, which was unexpected, but he's really a tough guy. Who everyone says, his teammates say that he's a great positional player. He's always in the right place, and he's always telling everybody else where to be. So he's been a good addition also. And, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And then, what's going to happen in the summer?
Wait. We'll get to that fantastic story. Let me talk a little bit more about the team. Tell me about this Borgelin character.
Oh, yes. Well, he's
That
a really
that
interesting guy.
that
He's,
dude looks like that dude's well put together. Like
yeah,
that's a
he's 6'5".
big dude.
He's
Yeah.
6'5". Yeah, he's 6'5", 21 years old. He's local, North Lauderdale. He's Haitian American. His father is the mayor of North Lauderdale. His
Oh, okay.
father, yes, his father was the first Haitian elected mayor of North Lauderdale. I believe the first Haitian elected mayor in all of Broward County of any town. So his father made history in November. He was named the first, or he was elected the first Haitian mayor. He was born in Haiti, came here as an orphan. His father, he has a really interesting story, and has made his way to mayor of North Lauderdale. And a few months later, his son was signed as the first Haitian American player on InterMiami. He was in the Philadelphia Union Academy. He grew up in North Lauderdale, played around here, and then before InterMiami existed, he went up to Philadelphia, played in their academy, and then came back here to be with his hometown team. And he played on the reserve team last year, and he scored like almost every game. I mean, every time he was in the game, he scored. And Phil Neville and David Beckham, who were at all those games because their two sons were playing on that team, they really, really liked the kid. And so in January, they signed him to a full contract with the first team. So he's a really promising young player, 21 years old, who's local, North Lauderdale. And then there's another local.
But what I like about him is I think he has the potential to actually be a good two-way player too at the same time. You know, it's there's like there we had a guy with the Strikers that was Jamaican, and I forgot the guy's name now. I'm brain farting because I was just thinking about him now, and he reminds me of, and he was like a truck, and people would fall off of him when he was, getting either on defense or on offense, and this young man, I kind of see the same thing in him that. Man, he is a force. You know what I
He's
mean?
big. He's really big. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know in that goal it was a whole bunch of rebounds and all that stuff.
Right.
Again, which I love the aggressiveness of the team. They were ready for a rebound. They were ready to attack again. And Borgelin, I think he got it on his second shot, if I remember.
He did. He took a shot off the rebound. Lassiter took the shot.
Right.
It went off. Then he got the rebound, and then he shot it, and it was saved, and it came back out. And then on his second try, he made it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but I really like what I saw from the kid. I'm trying to remember the Jamaican player's name from the Strikers. That was just he was a beast, dude. He was just a strong individual. I forgot his name now, but that kid really and again, you start to look. Here's the other thing I got to ask you about. Phil Neville. My God, we got to give this guy, with all the crap that came in at the beginning. Oh, well, he's a women's coach. Can he adjust and this and that? And then he inherited such a disaster that first year. And then he had to kind of crack the whip with Higuain. And he ended up taming the tiger and molding it back to the right way. And he kind of won his team back over. And then what he's doing now with Chris Henderson and how they've turned over the roster, and then the chemistry that I saw on a first night. I don't think we give Phil enough credit for what he's done since he got here, actually.
Right. Well, I've been giving Phil credit.
I know you have. I know you were first off saying he needed a contract, like him and Henderson needed it right away when last season ended. I remember that.
Yeah, no. I said that they deserved a contract whether or not they made the playoffs. I said, because I've seen the transformation. I mean, the spirit on that team, the togetherness on that team is really, I mean, it is palpable. You just see it. And he got the best out of Higuain. I mean, I thought Higuain was on the verge of quitting, of retiring, of saying, forget it, and then he comes back and scores 16 goals. That took some guts for him to bench him. He was the DP. He was the big deal. And he was difficult. He was difficult, super talented, but was having issues. And Phil got him to join in the band and score 16 goals. And by the end, everybody loved him and he was beloved and he was in a good mood. And now he's brought back, Pizarro, who left kind of on a bad, not a bad note, but he he and Higuain never really meshed, to be
Yeah,
honest.
he didn't fit. He
They
didn't
didn't
fit.
fit together. They wanted to play in the same space on the field all the time. There was a lot of frustrations there. So now that Higuain is gone, Pizarro just seems much freer and happier. And Phil is very excited about what he's seen from him. And I think he's done a really good job of bringing the group together, and Chris Henderson of finding, he's gone to Ukraine to find this defender. He went to this guy, Stefanelli, I think really is going to be good. He's an Argentine, but was playing in Sweden. And and then Borgelin, this young kid. And there's another kid, if we're talking about locals to watch for, they also signed, I think he's 18 years old, a local kid from Key Biscayne named Benjamin. They call him Benha. He's also Argentine, Benjamin Cremashi. And he's a, really creative, confident midfielder / forward type player, also an attacking player who's very, very young, but Phil loves him. I mean, Phil just raves about him every little time I've chit-chatted with him about him. So he's someone else to watch for.
And by the way, I love Bryce Duke.
Yeah.
That kid comes off the bench
With
and it's
100 miles
fire,
an hour. Yeah.
and he's like a little bulldog. He is fearless, dude.
He's fearless. He is fearless. He's fierce, and he's so hungry. I mean, I know he wants to start. I'm sure he thinks he should be starting, and now they bring in the Stefanelli guy who's now ahead of him, and Pizarro is back, and he's super, super hungry. So when he goes in, he goes 100 miles an hour.
I love him. I love watching that kid play when he comes off the bench. It's just, you can see it's a better team now. And I know it's only one game, and I get all of that, but I've watched the improvement from 2 years ago through last year, and now, you get an opportunity to start strong. And listen, it doesn't get any easier. Philadelphia
What
they win 4-1, 5-1.
They won 4-1, and by the way, the brace was scored by Julian Carranza.
Right.
Julian Carranza is now one of the top strikers in the league, and he could have been on this team.
Yeah.
They let him go.
Yeah. No, I mean, who knows? Sometimes
it's a different system. It worked for him up there.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes you can't blame it on the player, or maybe it's the system or whatever it is, and it's just wrong place, wrong time. And listen, the good thing is this franchise is now headed in the right direction. This is the final year of those sanctions and those penalties, so they'll be able to move on with a fresher, a fresher start next year, salary wise and all that stuff. But this summer, you wrote a very interesting article, and I got to tell you, I always thought this Messi story was just silliness, and especially, by the way, I thought it was an even bigger, joke after the World Cup, because he finally wins what he's never won for Argentina, what the fans have held against him, against Maradona. The Maradona fan, oh no, he never won a World Cup for us. He can win all the clubs and everything else in Olympics, but he's got to win the World Cup, and he finally won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, you're playing at this high level, somebody in Europe is going to step up. Here's, the Arab nations are giving, Cristiano 100 million. They're offering him 200 million a year. You figure somebody's going to offer, and yet here we are, one of the greatest players of all time, and he doesn't have a contract. And then you come up with this article that the 10 and the 5 haven't been filled, and you start putting, 1 and 1 together with Messi. And I got to say that it kind of makes sense now that maybe the league is going to give him a team or something like that, like they did with Beckham. But it just kind of makes sense now that maybe this crazy story is really going to happen.
Yeah, it seems hard to believe. I mean, Busquets, I could see it. Busquets, I think they're going to get him. I mean, I do. I think that is going to happen. Messi, on the surface, you would just say, why in the world? It just makes no sense. And what he's going to play on Commercial Boulevard there at that little, erector set stadium, temporary stadium, which is nice for a temporary stadium, but it's a 19,000 seat temporary stadium. It's not a big, glorious stadium with skyboxes and all that kind of thing, So it's
move it to Hard Rock, man.
Well, I thought about that too. I I noted the other day, and I mentioned this to my husband. I haven't
Only
written.
problem is the Canes and Inter play on Saturdays.
That is the thing. They play on Saturdays unless they were to move the games to, but they can't because now the Apple deal, they want all the games to be on Saturdays at 7:30. So I don't know. But I will tell you that, I mean, I know the Moss brothers and David are, they're making a very sweet deal for him. And I do believe, no one has told me this. This is just my own conjecture because of what happened with David Beckham. I absolutely think that Apple and MLS would be involved in some kind of big deal to make a huge corporate package deal for him. This is not about InterMiami paying him a salary of, $60 million. That's not. I think this is MLS and Apple would want him here. They would love to have him here to promote the league around the world. The whole thing with this Apple deal is supposed to be to spread MLS around the world. Everyone with an Apple device or with an Apple, app can now watch MLS games. So, it would behoove them. It would behoove Apple and MLS to get Messi into this league.
Oh my God, yes.
And everyone would tune in from Argentina, from Europe, from everywhere to watch him play.
It'll become the number one selling jersey in the world.
Right. So it would be now in InterMiami, that pink jersey would be all over the world. All right. Number two, he has a home in Miami. He loves Miami, and supposedly his wife really would love to move to Miami and raise the boys in Miami. They want to be closer to Argentina. They want to be closer to their home. They want to be in a community that has a lot of Argentine people and Hispanic South American people. So that's another thing. The guy has made so much money. He's won every trophy really that there is to win over there. He hasn't won the Champions League with PSG, but he's won everything else over there.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything else to prove.
It may be that he's just at a point where he's thinking, maybe they're going to offer him part ownership of a team, whether it's InterMiami or a new team or whatever. Or what if they give him part ownership of the stadium? I hadn't thought of that before, but I thought of it the other day. They're opening the Miami Freedom Park in 2025. The World Cup is coming the next year. There may be some big sponsorship deals involving World Cup sponsors. The World Cup is going to be in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity there to make a really big, attractive, very sweet deal to offer him. And yes, it's MLS, and yes, it's InterMiami and Drive Pink Stadium and all that stuff. But I think there may be more to it. And I did bring up about the jerseys.
I can tell you this. You see those four corners in that stadium? The Moss brothers are already designing how to round out that stadium with seats. Okay, for the summer.
Yeah.
Because I told a buddy of mine who's pretty comfortable in life. And I said, hey, you want to make a nice investment? Go buy yourself about 6 pairs of tickets for InterMiami. And he goes, why the hell would I do that? I go, because the second half of the season, they'll have Messi, and you'll be selling them for like $500 each.
Right. Well, yeah, I pointed out in my story today that I also found it curious, interesting, whatever word you want to use. The way they did the ticketing this season, you can only buy a single ticket through the June 3rd game or the first week of June. After that, if you want to buy a ticket for a game in July, August, September, October, and you go on the club website or you go on Ticketmaster, it comes up and it says, still working on pricing. Please come back with an exclamation point. So
buy season tickets, folks. I'm telling you.
To me, it means now the only way you can get tickets for the second half of the season is to buy a season ticket. If you have a season ticket, you'll have a ticket. But if you're going for individual tickets, you can only buy at the current prices from now through the beginning of June, which to me is setting it up so that when and if, I'm not saying it's 100% going to happen. I'm saying that if it happens,
but they're setting themselves up.
They're setting themselves up. In
case it happens.
If it
they
happens,
have to be ready, and they have to maximize.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm telling you, they're going to put stands in those corners.
Yeah.
Because that's probably another 8,000 seats that they can put if you add seats in those corners, and that's a lot of money that they're going to be able to.
And they're going to jack up there's no question they'll jack up the prices if Messi's coming, and Messi and Busquets, but especially Messi.
Forget Busquets. If Messi comes,
whatever. If Messi
over.
comes, no offense to poor Busquets, but anyway, if Messi comes, they can jack up those prices and they will sell that thing out at whatever those prices are. People are going to go watch him. He's going to be all over the Apple app, all over the world in that pink jersey. I mean, that's the dream.
No offense to Jimmy Butler. No offense to Tua. No offense to Tyreek Hill. No offense to Jazz Chisholm. No offense to Sandy Alcantara. Right. No offense to Barkov. No offense to Kachuk. You're all taking a back seat, man. That's going to be the ticket that everybody is going to want all over the world.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I just looked right now.
Florida, people are going to come to vacation to then watch also a Messi game.
Right. Listen to this. So I just looked it up real quick. Leo Messi, you know how many followers he has on Instagram?
11 million?
434 million.
Oh, 434 million. Wow. That's crazy.
434 million. Let's compare real quick. Jimmy Butler.
No,
let's remember the number 434 million.
He has more followers than all the teams and their stars combined.
Combined. Yes.
Okay? All the teams and stars combined in South Florida
would not equal 434 million. That's 434 million. You know how many Jimmy Butler has? I just want to tell you. Okay,
he probably has like 60,000, 100,000. What is it?
Jimmy Butler has 7.9 million.
Oh, yeah. Wow, he's big. Wow, I didn't know he had that many.
He has 7.9 million, but Messi has 434
million.
The
coffee too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but wow, Jimmy said 7.9. Tyreek has got to be up there too then, right? That was the only other one that I would think. Sandy's not going to have that much. I don't even know if he's even on Twitter. But Tyreek has probably got a couple million too, right? If Jimmy's got 7.9 and Tyreek's got what, 2 or 3, 4? How many does he have?
He has
Cheetah.
2 million.
Okay. All right. 2 million.
2 million. And Messi has, let's repeat, 434 million people's eyeballs are on that guy.
Yeah, Sandy has only 120,000.
Okay. So in other words, right. So in other words, believe me that it's not just Jorge Mas and Jose Mas and David Beckham that are trying to get him here. I think the league, Apple, anybody involved with the next World Cup, anybody involved with soccer in this country, they're going to pool their efforts. This is my opinion. No one's told me this.
I agree.
I think they're going to pool their efforts and do everything they can possibly do to get him to come here. And then, and then we'll see what happens. But it's going to change everything. If he comes,
insanity is going to
it'll be insanity. My job is going to change. Everything is going to change. The security that they're going to have over there. Right now, we walk around, as my mom says, como Pedro por su casa, right?
Right. Yes.
I mean, como Pedro por su casa.
Yes.
I will not be Pedro por su casa. There's going to be fences and barricades and, it's going to be different.
It changes. And Mas built this stadium in 8 months. They'll probably pick up the speed over at Miami Freedom Park and build that in 2 weeks. So, knowing them, I mean, they're awesome. But this story just gets more and more interesting, and we're going to witness something we've all never witnessed before if it happens in the history of South Florida sports. We've had some stars here. LeBron is as big as they come.
Yeah.
But this dwarfs anything and everything that's ever happened here. It doesn't matter who it is. This is the biggest name in the world to ever play here in South Florida. That's going to be pretty killer.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun.
In the meantime, between now and June, and Phil said, the other thing, the other little clue part, the other puzzle piece was that when I asked Phil about it, he said, I'm managing this team as if, I'm cutting the season in half. I'm saying we basically have 2 seasons from now through June. I have to manage the team as we have it now from now to June and try to get as high up in the standings as we can.
Amen.
So that if and when we get the help that we think we might get, he wants them to be able to just step in and already the team be here, not be way down here and have to like climb up, because he pointed out that Toronto last year brought 2 great Italian stars, but it was almost too late. By the time they got there, the team was way down. And even though they had a huge impact, they were not able to get high up in the standings. Yeah, they couldn't get out of the hole. So.
Yeah, I'm a Panthers fan. I'm used to that. Sorry, it's kind of been my life as a Panthers fan. All right, follow her on Twitter at Kauf Sports. Catch her exceptional work there at the Miami Herald, covering InterMiami and the NCAA going after women's basketball. Jeez.
I'm writing a column on that today, so look for my column in a couple hours. I'll be posting it.
Ridiculous. Anyway, yes. Michelle, thank you as always. Appreciate it. Enjoy the soccer.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Thank you. There you go. The great Michelle Kaufman. Good stuff as always, man. Love it. I'm telling you, when this guy takes over, it's going to be crazy. All right. Let's